Hi, this is Jacob with Kinnettic Kreations, and today we're working on a Honda Pioneer 500, a little guy. Not sure if they still make them or not, but this one, we like to donate kits to local stuff for raffles and charities, so we gave one off for the first annual UTV run for the fire department, and the guy that won it actually is a veteran firefighter, 45 years, so we're doing a free kit and install today for him. I had to make a kit for it because it's a Pioneer 500 and they don't have two taillights, they just have a brake light in the middle, so we gotta get a little creative and get some taillights in here for that. But anyways, if you have a Pioneer 500, we have a kit for you. They come with a set of taillights and the hardware to mount them. You got some fender washers, some cap screws, and some nuts. So I'll show you how that works. It's got a rear harness that'll plug into your factory third brake light, or only brake light, I guess you want to call it. And the harness, then we got two plugs here that'll plug into the taillight, and this runs through the vehicle to the front. This plugs into our module. Next we have a lever that mounts on the column, and the appropriate hardware and spacers to do that. It has a front harness and a horn that plugs into it. And then you have your module. Can't forget the module. So here's our in-house designed and built turn signal controller. So this plugs into your lever. This output would plug into a harness, go to your dash indicators. Pretty sure this one doesn't have that, so that wouldn't even be used. And this plugs in your front harness here. And then this one plugs into the rear harness. So that's all that. And you got options for lights. So we're going to mount one light to the front and one to the side like we always do. For the front, you got your option of this 1 1/4 inch round light. It's pretty bright. It's got 6 LEDs built in. Uses a 3/4 inch hole for the grommet, just like these little ones do. You can get two 3/4 inch lights. It's got a splitter. So it plugs in our front harness and it splits it. And you can actually mount these from the front and plug them in after the fact. You can get 3 of those. Or you can get this little guy. It's 3/4 inch tall, about 4 inches wide. It's got 6 LEDs in it. These each have 3 built in, so they're all pretty bright. These come with the appropriate screws to secure it to your vehicle. You throw an extra one in there. So I like to drop screws. I'm sure everybody else does. And for your side marker, you have an option for the 1 1/4, the 3/4, or the smoked. So this one we're going to do a smoked up on the front, right down here. Another one on the side here. It'll look pretty slick. So that's what the kit comes with. You got the rear harness and taillights with the hardware for it. The lever with the hardware for that. You got the horn, the front harness that plugs into 2 lights, left and right. That's why we get splitters. If you get 3, just plugs into 3 different connectors there. All this stuff's built in-house. Well, the lever's not, the bracket's not. We order some stuff, but all the harnesses are built in-house. And we solder onto the circuit boards here, program them here, and then we got an overmolder that encapsulates them in some black plastic. So we're going to get to the install of this one now. We're going to start here on the rear of the vehicle. As you can see, we've cheated. We've already drilled the holes. I had to make sure the lights fit and work properly before making the video. So we bored out the hole to about 1 1/4 inch, I think. We have a step drill that goes that big. It doesn't really matter. The light covers it, and it's got this foam gasket. That's just big enough for a connector to go through. And then we got our 1/4 inch holes for our bolts. We got some little cap screws. I think they're number 6, number 8. I forget. I'll look back at the build sheet. And those go in there. We got some fender washers and lock nuts. little stool. The nuts use a 5/16 wrench. So the nuts use a 5/16 wrench, and then the Allen screw or Allen key you need is, I had it a minute ago, 7/64. Let's put the bolts in, your washer on the back side, drop it. You don't have to go crazy tight on them. It's got a rubber gasket on the back or foam or whatever it's made out of. Foam gasket, so just got to hold a little taillight to the plastic. Same thing on the other side. Then we have a rear harness. So it plugs right under the vehicle connector that went to the brake light, and this goes through the brake light, and then they'll be labeled right, left tail light. So we'll get down here. Plug the factory connector. So this plugs into that one. Goes up into the tail light. And then we got left. Goes to left. Right goes to right. Now we have to run this up front. We're going to go up and in along the frame rail here, and we're going to follow the battery cable as best we can up front. Shove this up here. So we'll come back later and we'll zip tie all this stuff up real nice. In our harnesses, we have this PVC jacketed cable we had custom made for us to do our rear harnesses. So it's got the power of the ground, the brake, the left and the right built into it. It's nice because you don't have that corrugated crap that can catch on stuff. And it's durable. So we'll secure this up. We'll zip tie it. There's some brackets here we can zip tie to. And you can see it's plugged into the taillight and then the factory harness. And then we will rope this up and along here. We'll go down here and follow the battery cables. Alright, so now we got it in there. We'll zip tie it all up. And then we're going to route it behind this brace here. You can go on either side, really doesn't matter, but I like to go on the inside as far as I can. I always go one step at a time, because if you get to the front and realize you went around something you weren't supposed to, There's no really undoing it with a long cable. And we're gonna go down here, and here's a set of cables. I think these go to the winch. They're not factory, but they are safe because they haven't been cut yet. So we'll just follow them. And on this one, you can pop off the skid plate to get more access to it, but I'm not doing that because there's a good chance that those won't come out or go back in nicely. A little older machine. So we've actually run a wire, 8-gauge thick wire. We've run it. There's the cables coming out, so we're gonna follow them up there. So it's like a fishing wire, or whatever you want to call it. We'll attach this to it with some electric tape, keep the connector from hitting too much stuff, and we'll drag it out up the front. And pop your hood off. It's got, there we go. So here's where that wire comes up, so we'll attach to the other side of it, and we'll yank it, and with any luck it'll come up here, and we'll zip tie it where we can reach it. I can get my hand on some stuff underneath the seat, so we'll do that. So now that all wrapped up. Give it a head start so I can get my hand in there. Actually, it wasn't too bad. Oftentimes, since it's bulky here, this will catch on lips of stuff, so it did catch on the frame. A couple spots down there, but overall not too bad actually. Alright, so we got that. It's definitely clear of the drive shaft. That's the main thing you want to worry about going front to back, is that you don't get too close to the drive shaft, or that will cause issues. So now it's time for our lights. Alright, so now it's time to mount these lights. We're going to do one smoke light right here and one up here. That way you can be seen from the side. These kits are all about visibility, making sure other cars, people know what your intent is. So you're drilling holes to put a light. You want to make sure there's nothing behind it. Up here is pretty good. Down here now, there's the bracket for the headlight bucket. So I make sure when you drill through here, you don't go right into that. So we're going to put it down a little bit lower to account for that. Actually, our smoke lights only require a 5/8 hole, so all you have to do is put the connector through it. These larger lights, you need a 3/4 inch hole in this grommet. Put your connector through, put your grommet in, and then the light holds the grommet out to hold it in place. There's not much room for a step drill. Oh! The headlight's in the way. So we got a 5/8 drill, but usually I'll do a step drill, but I just want to make sure I don't go into this light. Nice low speed. This thing's tearing this up pretty good, nice and easy. There we go. Remount that hole a little bit. Just enough to put our connector through. And our light will mount right there. We got this foam gasket on the back. Make sure the holes are punched out for the screws. we'll mount that right there. Our kit comes with a bag of screws. There's 5 in there, 2 per light plus a spare. You require a number 1 Phillips bit. You don't need to pre-drill anything. They go right into plastic. They fit right in the lights nice. We took measurements of the hole and found a set of screws that was basically perfect for what we needed it to do. You don't have to go too light on them, just enough to hold the little plastic light to the chassis. I'm going back to my step drill. Up there I just went to regular bit because I didn't want to come hammering it through with this guy and mess up that headlight bucket. Center it. So we'll dip in the body line, center it up and down. There. Go just enough to compress the gasket a little bit, but not enough where you'll crack the plastic or anything. So we'll do that to this side as well. Alright, so we got our lights on there. Nice thing about the smokes is you can kind of hardly see it on this black backdrop of the UTV. Next we will get our horn mounted and our front harness ran. So the horn can go anywhere. I like to use existing bolts for mounting holes because it's easy. There we go. We go on this side so it's not in the way of the coolant overflow. Our front harness lets you plug lights in kind of anywhere you want. Pop this guy off. So with the way our front harness is set up, you can move the horn just about anywhere within reason, of course. Flip it up. Actually, before we bolt it down, we'll plug in our front harness. Now, it doesn't matter which side is purple and which side is black, but what does matter is make sure you don't slide it in on either side of that brass spade. So you can get it in there, think it's in, but that won't honk your horn. So you want to make sure. Yeah, that thing stuck in there. There we go. Make sure you're over the brass spade. That's mounted. We'll unwrap our front harness. So tuck both these up here for now. We got the horn hooked up. Now I got to do the front and left lights. So they're labeled front right, front left. Now, of course, it's as you're sitting in the driver's seat. So these will go over here. I'm going to stay away from the steering shaft. Plug those lights in. And we'll just run along this frame here, actually. I'll keep it nice and safe on both sides. Tuck it down there. Plug in both lights. Doesn't matter which plug goes to where. They're spliced together in the harness. We have our module. Front harness plugs in the front harness. Rear harness in the rear harness. Don't think this has indicators in the dash. Nope, there's nothing in there, so we can't hook up that one. And this will plug into your lever. Here's the lever. This will go on the steering column, but before we go any further, we'll check it out. So, quick walk around. So the key on, they come on as running lights up front. So even with the headlights, you can see they're quite visible. And then in the back, you got your third brake light, which is now really a third brake light, and then your tail lights. So we'll go left. Those are flashing. Right. And we picked some nice loud horns. And hazard, you just pull on that. You got hazards. It's got a little delay on the camera, it looks like. But they are flashing real nice and bright. And our kit, after 45 seconds, if you leave the lever on, it'll automatically stop flashing. There's a little circuit board in here. It's a little microcontroller. So it's programmed after 45 seconds or so. It'll shut off, and then you just reset the timer by putting it back in neutral. So the next time you come up to a light and you're like, oops, I left it on, it's all right. It's not flashing anymore. And just put it back in neutral and back on, and it'll go. So next, we'll get this mounted to the column. So now we will install our lever. The lever comes with the bracket already mounted. And it'll come with some hardware to get a washer and a longer bolt. First, you want to take off your column cover. If you're ever going to take off more than one of these, get yourself the right tool. They're available on Amazon. As you can see, they work pretty awesome. Now you'll need 10mm socket. We'll remove this bolt. That one. This one holds the paddle shifter in place, so don't yank on it or anything once you get the bolt out. The shorter one in the back we won't need anymore. That's what the one in our kit goes to. So pull that out. We'll take our plug and we'll route it along where the other harness goes. So the hole there ends up back here. Now you'll want to lift up on the harness and tuck this bracket in there. We'll take our washer and we got to put it underneath the bracket as a shim. Put the bolt that came with the kit in there. Get started. This long one back up front. Make sure your paddle shifter goes back in place. And there's that. Make sure this is, oops, tucked in there nice. Now we'll be able to put our cover on, but we do have to do some trimming here, so just kind of mark where you need to trim it. So we'll trim a little bit out of here. Do a little bit at a time. You can always take more off. You can't really easily put plastic back on here. So right here we'll just notch the cover and we'll go a little bit deeper each time. Alright, so you're gonna have to trim out quite a bit more. This is all overlap that goes down to about here. So you want to trim it right up to about that first crease. And she fits real nice. As you can see, paddle shifter still works. Still got room in the cup holder. And they're sitting here. And this one has a door on it. Maybe if the door went up higher, you'd have problems with it hitting the horn. But we do offer the same kit with switches. That just has a different module. It's got 3 branches coming out, and they go to 3 toggle switches instead of just this one plug for the lever. But your lever cable will come through here. Now we got it all in, everything works. We just gotta start zip tying stuff out of the way, so we'll mount, kind of like they did there with that. So we'll mount this probably underneath. We'll get this lever cable down here and fold it back and forth a little bit. We'll get it all zip tied up and put his windshield back in, front hood, and we'll be good to go on this. Throw the hood back on. And the windshield. All right, this one should be good to go.